For my underdogs, the ones willing to pay the cost. Even when we're up, we gotta take a loss. Underdogs are always against the odds. I'ma use this opportunity to do it for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. Yeah, my underdogs.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rec Center podcast. Kenny Edwards and Lolo Parham bringing it to you. Man, Lo, I feel like every time the public, it's like every time the public requests somebody, they be like, y'all should get this dude, y'all should get that dude. It's like we keep producing.
Hey, but this is a great follow-up to the last interview, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like I literally, so you really sent me a picture and I said, hey, this picture is probably one of the top 5 out of OEL history of our last guest and this guest coming on today, man. Excited about it, man. You know, can't wait to hear this story, man, because they feel some big shoes, Ken.
Yeah.
They feel they left some big shoes that's gonna be hard to fill with the stuff they made in a basketball career, you know. Yeah. So man, let's talk about let's bring this going. We're gonna bring him on and talk about it for itself. But the introduction I can give him does no worthy because our last guest let us know that he's the most decorated player out of OEL history. You know, so shit, I wish our last guest was on here to introduce this guy for us, but to be the most decorated player out of OEL history, my introduction does him no justice. So we just got to bring him on and let him talk, man. Welcome, Quentin Thomas, to the Rec Center podcast.
Q, what's good?
Man, what's up with you? Man, I'm good. Good. I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Oh, man, we appreciate you coming on. This was highly requested. this was highly requested to bring Quentin Thomas on, man. So, shit, we help with, you know, you a Bulldog. Hey, we on a Bulldog road now, man, because for a minute we couldn't get no Bulldogs on the show. Right, and
y'all
the Bulldogs
y'all couldn't get nobody.
We had DeMarshay. Shay was on.
Okay.
And then the other people that came on. I'm not sure if you saw the earlier episodes. They were Bulldog transfers. Like they started off at Tech, but then they transferred out after their first year or so. You know, so they ain't really Bulldogs. We can't claim them, Q. We can't claim them. They ain't make it all the way through. We ain't claiming them. So another Bulldog. Oh, we had Alexis on. Yeah. Alexis was on. Great interview. When we talked to Alexis, we talked to her. We made a statement that you guys 4 years at Tech was probably one of the most talented high school decades ever coming out of Tech. With you was there with Leon there, Marshawn Lynch, Alexis, Devonay, yourself, Deuce. It was another kid that was there. Lil Phil, Josh Johnson. And then you guys had a baseball kid, Ken. I think they got drafted high in a major league draft. So that decade of you guys was at Tech kind of like put it all the way back on the map, you know, of Oakland Technical High School. We had our run. I can't minimize what me and Mikey and them did, but we didn't do it like y'all. So we want to speak about all of that thing, man. So Q, we're going to break it down, man. This is the Rec Center podcast. What Rec Center you grew up playing at?
Man, I grew up playing at a lot of them, if not all of them, but Bushrod definitely. Playing with the Rebels under Coach Derek Smith. Played at EOYDC, you know, when Floyd was still jumping out the gym at EOYDC. I actually just seen Floyd. Played at Brookfield, played at Rainbow, playing with the Tar Heels, playing CYO with Coach Pierce. Rest in peace to Coach Pierce. So, I mean, I've just been an Oakland kid. When it came to basketball, I was in – it really wasn't any rec center or any gym that I didn't go to. TASA, you know, like just all of them, really.
Hey, Ken, one of the things was like I'm following this path of hoopers, right? Remember, I'm a football guy, but as I follow the path to hoopers, your game was solidified until after you had your run at Bushrod. The East Oakland kids let us know that. After you had your run at Bushrod, we had Brandon Payton on the show. Brandon Payton, another East Oakland guy, but he say Bushrod is where he honed in his skills at, and then we bring in all the other guys that came through Bushrod that we know of. You had to solidify your game at Bushrod or Brookfield at the rec center. We still trying to debate which rec center holds the title in Oakland. So we got to take a poll on that. We got to do a Facebook poll, Ken, to figure that one out,
Well,
man.
I think
So
it got to be Bushrod because the Rebels started there. See, this was before they had the soldiers and all. It was just the Rebels, and Rainbow had a team. I can't remember the name of it.
Rainbow had the Bulldogs
the
because Pico used to
Bulldogs,
coach them.
right?
Yeah.
But Melvin had the Rebels over at Bushrod, and that's where all the hoopers. That's where you would go to. And then I think they had the Tar Heels for a minute.
I think the thing that stood out with Bushrod is just the Easter tournament, the old school Easter tournament. You know what I'm saying?
they've been talking about it.
Like we didn't have a Rucker Park, we didn't have a Drew League. So for that week, you knew all the top players in the area. Sometimes even not even in Northern California, people would come out of town to play. But that was just the feel of it. I've seen Tone talking about it, the old school gym when the court peeling up and the pad falling off the backboard. It's like, I watched a lot of people playing that before me. You know what I'm saying? So I was just always inspired to just play with the older kids, the grown men. Really, that's really what I was doing until I had to play my age or whatever. But yeah, Bushrod, I feel like the Easter tournament was a big part of that.
Bro,
Who were some of them guys? Who were some of them guys that was balling in the neighborhood that kind of inspired you?
Man, there's a lot, man. Like I know I seen y'all talking about it, but it's a definite. Keith Wheelwright, CG, Paul Marigny. Y'all remember Ali that used to play at, was it Sacred Heart?
Ali Thomas.
Did Ali play?
Ali, yeah.
Ali Thomas.
Boy.
Kevin Butler that played at St. Joe.
Hey, hold on.
Ray
Time out. Let me
Young.
pause you. Ali used to be up at Bushrod?
He played in the Easter tournament.
Oh man, everybody didn't came to
everybody, man. I was reading an article. Jason Gaines came down from Deer Valley.
Oh yeah, and I can't forget Jason. And people forget about, not to cut you off. People forget that Big Zoe Alexander.
Yeah.
I mean Lorenzo Alexander. I'm tripping.
State champion.
Zoe. Yeah.
I started playing with Jason Gaines. They were 12 and under, and my first AAU team that I played for was the Tar Heels, coached by Ed Williams. Shout out Coach OG Ed. And I was 8. They were 12, man. So like I remember the first year I wouldn't get no burn. And I was just like, I'd be damn near in tears. Like my dad be like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I ain't playing." He like, "They 12. Like you 8." You know what I'm saying? But I ain't thinking about age. I want to play. But man, Jason taught me so much. Big Zoe taught me so much. And there's a whole bunch of other people, man, that down the list that came before me that just inspired me in playing basketball, you know what I'm saying? And kind of transpired my love for the game.
One of the things you mentioned earlier, also the guys that helped mentor you with that, your dad, these coaches, even Coach Pierce, you know what I'm saying? Even Coach Pierce, these guys been talked about on our show a lot, on
Right.
what mentorship they did with a lot of the players. So that's inspiring in itself to keep pushing and make you become who you became. Because when you playing into a whole bunch of dogs we name, even at 8 years old, if you ain't gonna be a dog to get your run with them, you might as well pack it up. So shout out to all the mentors that help inspire the dog that come out of all of these kids that we name.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's crazy you say that, because I remember when we was coming up, or like when I was growing up, you never really heard the terminology dog. Like it was kind of just in people, you know what I'm saying? Like now you hear it more like, "Oh, he got that dog in her, she got that dog in her." But when I was growing up, it was just like that was just automatic. That was the, you know what I'm saying? That was the bare minimum. You had to have dog in you, or you was gonna get embarrassed, laughed off the court, whatever it may be. But that was just a way to get your respect. And being from Oakland, California, we have that that edge about ourselves, and especially when it comes to sports. So you picked that up at a young age. You know, I think that's what these rec centers did. I think that's what the parks did, Mosswood, whole bunch of different parks around here, the park on 98th, whatever it may be. And you just kind of, it just kind of grows in you, should I say? It grows in you and it grows within you, should I say?
I say it all the time. I think it was because when we were coming up, you could get cut from a team. Like, it wasn't
Right.
no everybody make the team. It wasn't no all play rule. So that dog, like you said, it just had to be in you because it was the only way you was going to get to play. It wasn't no automatic
Right.
play rule. Once they got rid of that, I feel like it kind of changed. And then saying a kid got that dog in him was a special attribute where it wasn't like that before.
No, I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
absolutely,
And I fully agree.
absolutely.
And like I always tell Tone and them and everybody I play with from Tea Time and Deuce, Mondo, Leon, like I didn't have no choice. Like you couldn't play on any sport, but you know, I just played basketball my whole life. You couldn't play around here and like just try to, you know, excuse my language, but try to bullshit your way through because people gonna get you.
Get
They will eat you
you.
alive
They
on the
gonna get
court.
you.
You know what I'm saying? And
It wears
that was
it
it's
definitely
a good
wears
way. My
off.
fault. Yeah,
No, it's all good.
that was that was your way of getting respect,
Yeah.
of you showing that heart, showing that hunger. That was a way you get respect, even if you weren't like I knew guys that wasn't the most talented, but that dog gave them enough. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So
mm.
that's just a part of the Oakland culture when it came to that.
Got it. Hey, Q, being an East Oakland kid, but having love for Oakland all the way throughout, how did you end up at Oakland Tech and not another school in Oakland? How did that come about? Because coming there, me and Ken talked about it offline. When you got there, they are y'all team was there and they was missing you. Were you
Mhm.
recruited by these dudes to say, hey, you know what, Q, you are a missing piece. Come in, even as a freshman, you go get this burn. How did you end up at Tech?
No, honestly, nobody really knew I was coming. Because I went to Montero for middle school. So I was automatically supposed to go to Skyline, just being a feeder school. But like I said, living off 90 and Mac. I'm right here by the castle, like literally down the street from the castle. So my mom wanted me to go to. My dad wasn't really tripping. He just wanted me to be somewhere comfortable. My mom's wanted me to go to either St. Joe's or St. Mary's, and I just wasn't. I didn't have anything against them, but it was just like I just wanted to play in the OAL. So I remember when I had to go up to St. Mary's and St. Joe's, like I was just doing abracadabra on the test, like whatever. I wasn't even trying to get in it when I'm not. I don't want to be here. And so my mom sat me down. Both of my parents sat me down. They like, well, what school you want to go to? And I just thought of it because I played at Bush Ride and I played with different people like that. So I was like, and I knew friends from Claremont, Carter. So I was like, I'll go to Tech. And she was like, why you want to go to Tech? I'm like, because I know people. I know enough people, but I don't know everybody. Like if I would have went to Skyline, I would have knew everybody. And I just wanted to start something new. It really wasn't even off basketball. Like I knew they had Mondo. I knew they had Deuce. I knew they had Shay. I knew they had Leon. But they still weren't one of the, you know, most powerful teams. I didn't even know Coach Mack at the time. And then I wound up going, since I lived in the East, I had to go through the academy. So my dad, being my dad, just doing what he always does, he's always trying to find a way to, you know, take care of his children, see what they can do. So he was like, well, we can't do the address thing, but if we go through this academy, the education academy, you could get in and nobody can really say anything. So honestly, I remember when the first year, like Skyline and Castlemont was trying to have it to where I couldn't play, but they couldn't do it because I did everything the proper way. So that's how I wound up at Tech.
Why the
Hey, that's
OAL
big.
coaches be hating?
Come on,
Man,
man. You know what that is,
I
Ken.
would have I
Ken,
probably ain't gonna lie, I probably would have hated too.
man,
I
but
probably would have hated.
you know how me and Ken feel about it, and we looking at it as 40-year olds right now, Ken. That we adults. You shouldn't be hating on a kid just trying to play ball. But at the same time, man, I'm trying to win too. This kid is in my
Yeah,
district. I want him on my team. I see both sides to that. You know, but once you in the school, you
Yeah,
can't come hate on me, man. Don't hate on me once I get in the school. You know
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
it,
saying?
saying.
and it was one of those situations where like I never, and as you go through the OAL those 4 years, you start to build relationships with other coaches because you play them at least twice a year. You know what I'm saying? So I was and I didn't play for can't think of the head coach name at um, Skyline at the time because Kurt was the coach at the time. But I played with Kurt at Montero, so I knew Kurt. I can't think of the Castlemont coach, but I built a good relationship with them. But I mean, at the time as a kid, it's like, man, y'all don't want is that serious? Like y'all don't want me to play. But
Right.
you know, every time I would play him, it'd be kind of personal though. So it's like, all right, bet. Like, all right, it's cool. But I think I made the right decision beyond just basketball. I think Tech was just the better school for me in general.
Absolutely. It's right. It's the best school in Oakland, hands down. Right. We're not going to minimize that. Right.
For
School
sure.
wise. But so when you got to Tech and Coach Mack didn't even know you was coming, how did you and Mac build a relationship with all the other guys he had there? And even Tone even said he was at Tech for a couple days, right? But Tone said he was
Man,
at Tech and realized everybody was at Tech, so he cut, right? But how did you and Mac get
yeah.
how did you and Coach Mac get the relationship with all them guys still there? He didn't even know you was coming.
What happened was they had it wasn't tryout shit, it was just open gym. And so when Coach Matt came in the gym, he was like ninth and 10th graders on the left side, 11th to 12th graders on the right side. And I'm in the ninth grade, so I'm going to the right. And Mondo and Deuce and Leon, like they looking at me like what you doing? I'm like, he told me to go over here. He ain't talking to you. Like, you with over here with us. And so what happened was Mondo and Deuce, they've always been like older cousins to me since I was little. So that particular day, me and Mondo were going against each other. So we was guarding each other, and I was just playing my game. And after that, Coach Mack just walked up to me and was like, "Man, you can play. Like you can play." And they would vouch for me, but I think just that day or that week, I think Coach Mack saw enough to where he was like, you can play varsity. And I never had the mindset like any school I'm gonna go to, like I gotta play varsity or I gotta start. I knew I had the ability to play right away as a freshman, but as far as starting and all of that, I just wanted to go somewhere where I could help, you know what I'm saying, and hopefully win. But I always tell people when I get the chance, like I commend all the upperclassmen, from Leon to Deuce to Mondo to Kev, who was also a guard at the time. Like they just welcomed me. And I honestly feel like I was just that piece, whether it be a point guard, whether it be the unselfishness, and it kind of started becoming contagious for the rest of the team. And again, we all played around each other. If we didn't play with each other, we played against each other at a young age. And you kind of just build a rapport with each other on the court. So, I mean, y'all know how sports are. You don't even always have to say somebody's name. It could be eye contact or body language, and you could read off that play. So that's really how it happened, man. That's really how it happened.
When you got to Tech, was that DeMarche junior year or DeMarche senior year as your freshman year?
That was the Marche senior year.
DeMarche senior year. So what kind of role did the Marseilles play into bringing you up to the team with you, Leon, Mondo, some guys that that had been there that went through the losses of their years. Like DeMarche was a freshman and sophomore when I was there, and Tech was losing. Playing against the Fremont teams and the McClymonds team with D tucking them on it. And then now, as he getting ready to, it's his senior year, it's his time. It's a bunch of young dudes coming on the team too. That now I got to come with a balance. How did you guys all balance you guys' personalities out?
I think I mean DeMarshe being the only senior at the time, excuse me, I think it was him and another player by the name of Chris that came off the bench. DeMarshe just he handled it like a senior. You know what I'm saying? He handled it like a leader, and he was always just open. He was just always open, whether it be for me, whether it be the rest of the team. And like any team, you know, we'd have our egos from time to time. But I think that year was the first year that it kind of just it stopped. And I think it just stopped because we started playing together. We started winning. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe that was the first time Tech had got the furthest. We won the OAL. We you know, so it was just different things. I think we started growing confidence in each other. You know, we started encouraging each other throughout, even when it came to the classroom. You know, like we would get on each other. And that started with the upperclassmen. That didn't start with me. That started with DeMarshe and Deuce and Mondo and Leon. And we had Mr. Zuckerman was a teacher at the school. Mr. Zuckerman, and like we just had a whole community, man. So like when I got to Tech, I realized like, man, we could really have something special. Not just this year, but like for a while, you know. And we just became closer and closer throughout the year. But DeMarshe and all the upperclassmen, they did a good job of just bringing everybody in.
In your freshman year, you know, you just mentioned you wanted to play in the OAL. You didn't want to do the St. Mary's and the St. Joe's. You wanted to play in the OAL. What was that welcome to the OAL moment for you during that freshman year on varsity?
Shit, all of them. But the first game we played Castlemont. We was at Tech. And I remember it was like, you know, Man, Don, CG, Chris Green, CG. And I remember just having butterflies. I would always have butterflies, but just being an OL, it's like, nah, I gotta do well. You know what I'm saying? And I think something happened, and I did some type of move, and the crowd kind of fed off of it. And honestly, it was like after that, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm home. You know what I'm saying? And like, I never tried to do too much. I just always, like I said, I always just tried to do what I could and try to help the team in whatever I could. And even growing up all the way from childhood to Tech, I was always blessed to play with scorers. I was always blessed to play with scorers and shooters. So it was easy. Like I felt it was easy because all I had to do was like, okay, I'll score if need be. But if not, I just don't want to put my teammates in a great position. And the more positions that I put them in, then they gonna be, you know, extra turned up and extra ready to play defense, get an extra rebound, dive on the floor. So that's just all I was about to do. All I was trying to do is have fun and be cute at the same time.
Man, so you just mentioned your first year there, y'all took the OEL, Tech the furthest. Y'all won the OEL. So, and I'm thinking about it. I know y'all won it, you know, your sophomore and junior year. Did y'all win the OEL all 4 years you were there?
Yeah, all four. And that's
All
like
four.
I tell people my senior year was the one that probably I don't want to say meant the most, but like I was most proud of because, you know, especially for me, like I didn't heard when I was there first after we won, it's like, well, they only got Mondo and Deuce and Leon because they graduated. So my sophomore year, they like, well, Q don't score. Then we win again. Then Mondo and Deuce leave. Then they like, well, they only got Leon. But it's like we had other pieces too that might not be like big names, but we just knew how to play together. And then I still handled my business. Then Leon left. And senior year, we started 0-2 in the OAL. We lost to Fremont and Mac. And Mac beat us twice that year. They beat us at Tech and at the Mac house. And I was just like, you know, we had a early season where it's just like, man, we're not clicking. And we kept working. We kept working. Josh Johnson was on that team. Jamil Butler, Rashay Dupree, Maurice Reed. Like all of these people that are good pieces, but they just didn't have those big names. So people was probably like, they're not going to do anything. And we wound up beating Fremont in the playoffs. And we had to beat Mac twice. And I don't know if Tone and them remember this. We played at the Henry J. The first game, Mac wasn't even warming up. Like they were just out
Mm.
there just chilling. And I'm like, nah, I'm like, it's cool, but nah. And we beat them that game. And I'm gonna be honest, once we beat them that first game, I knew mentally they was out of it for the second game.
Yeah.
They weren't gonna be ready. And we beat them.
Right.
We beat them twice. So like for me, it's just like regardless of the expectation, regardless of the hurdle, I was just always that player that wanted to be like, all right, like let's see, we still got to play no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that went though. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to lead with four of them things.
Hey, Ken, we gonna have to fact check our '90s team, dude. I don't think a '90s team did a
Not 4
4-year
straight.
OEL run. Not four straight,
Not
right?
4 straight.
I don't think, and I don't want to say, how we do. We do the hater shit. Everybody do the hater shit. Oh, the lead fell off. The
It is
lead
what
wasn't
it
the
is,
same.
man.
Everybody was there. Like we do the hater shit. Everybody do the hater shit. We did it on your championship, Ken, when you won it,
Y'all
right?
still do.
We do it on your championship. We do the hater shit. But take the hating out of it. That's big to win 4 years in a row. And like Q said, despite who was leaving, they were still getting it done. And just we made a system of them 4 years, became a system of where you could plug people in and just get them running in this basketball. Q, I got a question because you did name all these people in your 4 years there. Who's your Oakland Tech starting five for my 4 years there?
People that I played while I was in school, right? That's tough. Put me on it last. That's tough. But I'm gonna go with Allende.
No. That was at Tech with you.
Oh, with me.
Yeah, that was at Tech.
Me, Mondo, Deuce, Leon, and probably Theo. Theo White. Theo was there.
Theo White. I remember Theo White.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have Keith or Shea in your five?
I mean, I would have Keith, but Keith was never eligible. You know what I'm saying? Like if we going off of eligibility or just whoever was at Tech. You feel me? And then I would say Shea,
No.
but Shea wound up not being able to finish the second semester. First semester he was there. But if it's not that, then I probably put Shea there, and then I put Keith with I exchanged Shea for Theo, and I put Keith as a sub.
Nah,
Just
ain't
for,
no subs. Ain't no subs.
Ain't no subs.
It's the rec center. You just
Well,
got the 5.
You
that's
gotta
my
put
5.
Keith
I'm gonna go with me, Mondo, Deuce, DeMarche, and Leon. I'm gonna go with our 5.
That was your five, wasn't it? Wasn't that your five?
Yeah.
Your freshman year. That's your freshman year.
That was our 5. Yeah.
Hey, did Keith not play no games with you guys? He didn't play no games with y'all? Like, didn't ever get a chance to play?
I don't know if Keith played with them, but I know my freshman year, nope. And like you said, it was so scary at Tech because if Tech would have kept everybody who was actually at the school, it would have been a lot of problems. Like Tonio told y'all he was there. Ike Count was there. There was a few other people that was at Tech for at least a week or two, you know what I'm saying? And they dispersed. Dirty D was at Tech. That wound up going to Fremont. Dirty D from Bushrock. So it's like it was a lot of talent, man. It was a lot of talent. But that'll be my 5 though. I'll go with that freshman 5.
Hey Q, I don't know if you know this, but the ritual at Tech is, during intramurals time with Coach Mack, it's open gym basically intramurals. But it's the hoop team playing together, right? Coach Mack keeps the hoop team playing together, but it's basically intramurals. When I was there, the 5 dudes that was ineligible, cut class all day that can hoop was damn near better than the hoop team. I don't know if that died off by the time you was there, but it was some dudes that was walking around that school that wasn't going to ever be eligible, but they was some gunners. We had a dude named Vern, and Vern was doing 360s and coming baseline 360s. Never played basketball in the regular game. He was just a street hooper because he never had grades. And we got to stop that ritual at Tech, man, where everybody's ineligible so they can't play. Because, like, Keith was amazing to me because I saw it building up because I was older. I saw it building up from when he was a freshman, and then we had a dude named Daryl Payne there too. You heard of Daryl Payne before?
I did hear of Daryl Payne. Yeah.
Dude, Daryl Payne was fucking. They like Klay Thompson the way he shoot threes from the corner, but he never
Okay.
played either. You know, he a Bushrod kid too. He a Bushrod kid himself. Never played.
Okay.
You know, so it was just so much talent walking around, and this is why you guys went to the state championship twice, because the five you will pick is the five you play with. You know, so
Yeah.
that says a lot about that brotherhood camaraderie that you guys built with y'all four. So
I agree. I agree with you though, because I used to, at Tech, at lunchtime, it used to be a whole bunch of people on the courts by the football field. And I'm talking about ballers. Like it was times where the people on the team would be hesitant to go over there and hoop because they're gonna try to dog you, and you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like my freshman year, I probably stopped after my freshman year because I'm like, all right, let me be smart, and I don't want to get hurt, some foolishness. But freshman year, I used to be out there, like I was trying to just make a name for myself at the school, like the ninth grader, and that was one thing. Another thing too, where I just naturally just started getting respect around the school and just around the city too. Like a few people knew me, but then when I started playing the OAL and started making a name in the OAL and at Tech, and they like, who is this? Who is this ninth grader walking around here? And a lot of people, and it was funny because some of the older cats might be like, man, he ain't really nice like that. Like, but then after a while, it's like I started getting their respect. I started getting their love. You know what I'm saying? So that was the dopest thing about me. I mean, dopest thing for me to see at Tech. It's crazy you brought that up because I'm like, man, it's a lot of talent, sadly, that probably will never be seen. And that's
never
just at
play.
this school.
Never,
Like,
Yeah,
we
it's
could go to
inside
every
school.
school.
Yeah.
You could go to every
mm-hmm.
school and find that. I think it'd be dope if they did a documentary on, like, I don't want to say just the Hooks, but like anybody who had like the talent like the Hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the Keefs. Like, if they did a documentary on that stuff just in Oakland alone, it'd be a lot of names, and probably a lot of names that I heard about, but didn't get to see them play. You know what I'm saying? Whether they was older
Man,
than me or not.
Yeah, because I would go out of Oakland High. I would go with it was a dude named Joe Frazier. He played a couple of games in
I know
the
Joe.
OAL. He scored 30 against that '99 Fremont team. And then Mark Spencer. Mark Spencer was Brandon Gilbert's year. Mark Spencer was off
Okay.
the hook. Yeah, I would go with them two
And
dudes out of Oakland High.
and my guy that was at Oakland High with you, Rob. Did Rob ever
Oh,
play any
Rob
games
Walker.
with you?
Oh, Rob Walker.
Rob watches our
Rob
show.
Walker
Rob,
was a taller, thicker Adriel Burrell.
hey, Rob watches
Man,
our show, and but on the flip side of that, Ken Adriel Burrell, his brother Bo went to Tech. He was cool and never played. Bo was always ineligible, right? And Bo was the first person. I'm overly aggressive on defense, hooping in the gym, and it's the first time I seen a sham guy move, right? And I really dove for the ball, and he pulled it back on me, and him and white boy Jesse cracking up, laughing at me, and I'm like, yo, what's that move? I'm not a hooper. I'm just super hyper on defense. That's when I knew, like, hey, you basketball motherfuckers know real tricks that I don't know nothing about. I'm still doing the Tim Hardaway crossover, just through my leg and go. None of the fancy stuff that was going on, man. So that'll be a good documentary for someone to put together that you mentioned, Q. That'd be dope.
But Q,
That'd be a dope one.
did you used to catch the bus to school? Because I feel like that was another thing about the OEL. Because you coming from 90th all the way to Tech, I was coming from 55th in the East, going to Ohio, and that was one of the things that drove me to do really well in games. Because I'm like, I got to ride the bus past, with Fremont. I got to go, and then all the good kids from Tech and Skylight, they gonna be on the bus. It's like you just don't want to get it talked about.
Man.
Yeah, I was on that. I was on that famous 57, man.
57.
So
57 Tech
Go
bus,
through the
57 Tech
whole
bus.
city.
yeah, you go through the whole, you go through the whole town on the 57 before you get to Tech, before you get to the 40th.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
like you said, it's crazy. You said that you play a game and you Ohio on the bus, Skyline on the bus. You might even, depending if somebody in the West was living in the East, you might have some Mac students on the bus. You know what I'm saying? So And everybody back then, it wasn't no phone, so everybody got the Tribune
The
out. You
Tribune.
know what I'm saying? Looking at stats.
Player of the week.
Yeah, like, and a lot of times, like, I'd be in the back of the bus in the corner. I'd be either tucked off trying to sleep, headphones on. And, you know, sometimes I could tell, like, when somebody was looking at the paper and they look up and they be talking like, man, that's him right there. Like, but it was, you know, just that. The 57 bus ride, just the tech. That's a story in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
The people you meet, situations, getting kicked off the bus, even if it ain't your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that type of stuff. But that was a part of the culture. That was a part
That
of
was a
growing up
part
in
of
Oakland.
it.
Part of the OAL.
That
It's
was a part of it, man.
Part-
It's part of it because
Taco Bell on 35th.
Facts.
Man,
Facts.
the
You know,
kids, so the
and it
kids,
crazy. We would pull up
Look.
to, like you said, the 35th. It's about 8 in the morning, and you might see a fight right there on 35th, right by the store, the little corner store, right there on the. You know what I'm saying? And you like, damn, it's 8 in the morning. They already. But it was just the culture.
They were
They was
snatching
at it, but it was
Jordans
just the
up
culture.
over there. When the Jordans would come out,
Facts.
you end up at Taco Bell.
It's over.
Anything liable
gonna
to
get-
happen.
No,
They're gonna get you. And that was another thing I learned quickly, even before high school, but just I think that sports did for a lot of us. It gains you respect not only on the court but in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I
absolutely.
tell people all the time, like, yeah, like I wasn't a street nigga. Like I never tried to portray myself as something that I wasn't. But just being me, I got so much respect from the street niggas and the whites, and no matter who it was, you know what I'm saying? They just respected me because I was me. And, you know, some of the toughest dudes that people wouldn't even want to walk by or walk up to me like, you was killing last night. Like,
Right.
you know, my dad got it on tape because my dad, he would film all the games pretty much that I would play in from when I was little all the way to Tech. And in one of the Tech games, it was a dude that was there, and my dad got him on film. He like, man, I paid my $5 to come see number 33. Like, I paid my $5 to come see 33. So it's just something that you knew in that Tech, and especially in games was starting at 3:45. We get out of school at 3:30.
Right.
So people
Right.
leaving work. It would be people from other schools leaving their school to come to Tech, and you might not get in. You know what I'm saying? 3:45 game, like. But like you said, that was just a part of the culture. It was a part of the culture.
Hey, Q, outside of the OEL, who was y'all like rival but not rival outside of the OEL?
I don't know if we really had a rival outside of OAL. The only one I could think of maybe De La Salle, and that's just because we would play them in the Martin Luther King tournament at St. Mary's, and then we had to play them in the Northern California State Championship my sophomore year, because we went to state sophomore and junior year, lost to Westchester both times, but we had to play. And matter of fact, after that one, they stopped inviting us to the
Martin Luther King?
yeah, they stopped inviting us. Man, Locko didn't want that smoke no more. So I'm like, that's good.
Hey,
about
man,
St. Mary's?
Oh yeah, we only played St. Mary's once. Like, honestly, man, when we was in school, it was a lot of teams. Coach Mack would tell us too, because he would try to have us play a lot of teams in the preseason. Teams wouldn't want to play us. Like they was more worried about that. I mean, yeah, but I guess back then people was more worried about their record early in the season than actually preparing the team, you know, because like we would go to these different tournaments when we could. We went to Delaware, we went to Florida, and we played a lot of people, especially in that 04 class. We played a lot of people, man. We would get dogged. We went to Utah. We was playing these all-white teams. They were just swinging the ball, like dogging us, like straight up. But by the time the OAL came, because we played them teams, I feel like we had an extra little boost. We knew what could and what was gonna come later in that year. But St. Mary's had dogs. We played St. Mary's when they had D. Free, John Sharper, and all of them. We played them at Cal State East Bay now, but it was Cal State Hayward at the time. We played them in a playoff game, and that game was jam-packed. People couldn't get in. But I say De La. I say De La just because we played them the most. We didn't really play a lot of other schools a lot.
Definitely. So, hey, what was it like that first year y'all played in that state championship against Westchester? Is that the year where they had all 7 motherfuckers going to the D1? They had 7 people going to D, or was that the next year after that?
They had like 7 or 9 D1 players that first year. They probably had it the second
Mm-hmm.
year too, but the first year they had like Ashanti Cook, Trevor Ariza. Um, man, I
Hassan
feel
Adams.
bad. There
Was
you
that
go.
Hassan Adams?
Hassan Adams jumping out the gym. Um,
Yeah.
and
Bowman.
we almost got we had a fight before the game.
Mm.
What happened?
Yeah, we were just like it was a few of us. It was a few of my teammates. They was like in the hallway stretching, and I think a few of their teammates was in the hallway stretching, and people just started popping off a little bit. So they kind of break it up, but it didn't escalate to anything. But what was the funny part, I don't know if y'all remember, but that year they wound up being on the court first for warm-ups. So I'm in the front, and while we in the tunnel, we had like one person telling us to go and another person telling us to hold on for whatever. But I got the ball. So Mondo and them yelling at me like, man, just go. So when I go, I don't run around the court. I ran straight through they layup line. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't mean it in no sign of disrespect, but after we almost get in a fight in the tunnel and all of that, they like, oh, these niggas disrespectful. Like y'all out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And the first play, I'll never forget, first play they win the tip, and I'm guarding Hassan, and he on the right wing. I'm running down with him, and I just see the ball go up out my periphery. I'm like, who they throwing it to? And he just jumped. And I stopped. But luckily the ball went out of bounds. I'm like, because they was in warm-ups, and that was back in the day when you couldn't
You
touch the
couldn't touch
rim.
the rim. Right, right.
And we in the layup line, and we in Arco, the old school sack Arco. They like, all you keep hearing is, oh, oh. So we turn around, we like, all right, it's gonna be one of them. Like, okay, for sure. You know. But
Man,
but yeah,
what was that score of that game? What was the score of that game? Was it close?
yeah, we only lost by 5. I want to say
Was that the game Leon picked up 3 in the first half? I know one of the.
that was next year. That was the next year. Yeah, that next year we lost by 10. I believe. And I always get them mixed up, but I think we lost by 5 the first time, and the second time we lost by 10. But yeah, I just be like, damn, I didn't get to get one. But just that experience, man, and just playing, being able to say, I played against the Trevor Arizas when he was in high school, and the Hassan Adams and Ashanti Cooks and all of them. And Westchester wasn't just a school that they just accidentally went there. You know what I'm saying? Like they breed these ballers. So for us to be from a North Oakland school and to be able to compete with these players, I felt like if nothing else, we got our respect. We didn't come home with the gold, but I think it just let us know, like, all right, we deserve to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we belong.
The state championship always better when it's Oakland and LA. I don't think I ever watched when like De La Salle go or one of them other NorCal teams go, but when it's a team from Oakland playing a team from inner city LA, Westchester, Inglewood, one of them, it's just like a better game. Dominguez, it's just a better game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's just
Yeah.
I think it's always that rivalry, that Northern California, Southern California rivalry, or that Oakland and LA rivalry. But I've also known on any level, it's a rivalry, but it's a big respect too. Like we know they got dogs out there. I'd be foolish to say they ain't got no dogs out there. Like plenty of them, and they know the same thing out here. So yeah, it's always fun. I agree though. I agree. When it's Oakland and LA, it's special.
But Ken, I don't know, man, because I was hyped when Bishop O'Dowd was in the championships with Ivan and Pete. Man, I was juiced though. Like,
Yeah, but them
are you
two
pulling?
Oakland
Hold on,
kids though.
time out. Listen to me, Ken. Are you pulling my guy Ed Washington thing on me and telling me like Bishop O'Dowd ain't
No. Okay.
the Oakland type?
Okay.
Doing it?
So this is my. I don't really consider Bishop O'Dowd a Oakland school, but when they had Ivan and Paris, them was two Oakland dudes. So I go for them in that respect. But even then, it's different when it's a OAL school playing the LA
Nah,
team.
no, I
I,
feel
I understand what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, but hey Ken, man, we gonna edit that part out. Don't put none of them clips up where you saying that it's not Oakland.
hey, but
But
I
the
don't
good
really
thing,
rock with Odell like that. Like I
the good thing
respect some
is,
of their players as individuals, but I don't really rock with the school like that.
yeah, I mean,
hey, Ken gonna love you for this one.
I was a fan. I was a fan.
Go ahead, Ken.
I watched Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant's a big brother. Uh, Gary Hill Thomas. Like they had
GHD.
dogs. They definitely had dogs. And then even on the like, I was fortunate enough that I mean, unfortunate enough that I didn't win. But my sister Asia Thomas, she won 3 at Odell, and
Asia.
she probably would have
Mm-hmm.
won 4. But the only year they didn't win is because they tried to tell them they played one more game in preseason that they shouldn't have, and that's why they weren't able to be
Mm,
qualified for state.
I
Not for
remember
that,
that. I remember that.
she honestly probably would have had 4 of them things. Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
When you
Odell
bring
had
up
some ballers.
when you bring up your sister Asia Thomas and who else from that old Dow team with the cow with her? What's that? Brittany? Was it was,
Um,
was, was it Brittany Boy that went to Cal with her? One of the things
nah,
me and Ken
no,
talked
bro. Well,
about
Brittany went before Asia. She did go to Cal. Brittany
was
went before because they went to
okay.
they went to the Final Four.
So that's one of the things me and Ken talked about. So we gonna get into your recruiting on this one because the way Paris and Ivan was at Cal, Asia and Brittany was at Cal. I'm like, I would have loved to have seen Q and Leon at Cal, along with Alexis and Devonay at Cal, right?
Yeah.
But when did your recruiting take off for you, man? Let's get into the recruiting. When did that take off for you, and when did you sign to this really big school that you signed to?
It really kind of started my sophomore year. I think my first letter was like from Nebraska, and after that, I played in the AAU circuit, so I started getting more letters. Then by the end of my sophomore year, junior year, that's when I started getting a lot of letters. Like pretty much everybody from the Pac-12, Pac-10 at that time. Um, ACC schools, Big East schools, Big Ten schools. It was a lot of different ones. Um, but I think back then, one, I think one reason was because I never really had anybody sit down and be able to talk to me and like give me certain questions to ask for a recruit. Like, I was just 17, 18 years old, and you got these different schools saying they're interested in you. You just trying to get out of Oakland. I know I was, and I didn't think of Cal. Well, I thought of Cal. Cal was there, but then also they had got Allende at the time.
Right.
Um, so I was about to go to UCLA, honestly, but then they wound up getting Farmer. Well, UCLA was definitely high on my list, and they wound up getting Jordan Farmer. So my last 3 schools that I was interested in was Arizona State, Pac-10 school, plus it wasn't too far from home. And then Kansas, because Coach Williams was recruiting me at Kansas. How Carolina came into play once Coach Williams left Kansas, I personally thought he was done with recruiting me. Because I'm like, I know Kansas is Kansas, but I just looked at Carolina like, all right, yeah, they ain't
It's the
fooling with me no
Mecca.
more.
It's
Yeah,
the
I'm like,
Mecca, right?
yeah, I'm like, it's done, but they kept recruiting me. Now, what I can say is people think that some people think that I went to Carolina just because of Coach Williams. But what happened was I took my visit to Arizona State. After I took me and Tim took our visit to Arizona State together. I really wasn't feeling the team at the time, like just the morale of the players. So then I took a visit to Kansas, and I loved Kansas. That's when they had Aaron Miles, Keith Langford, had all those dudes. And I remember that Sunday before I left, they were trying to get me, and I was like, "No, I'm just not ready to make that commitment yet." Russell Robinson from New York, he was on a visit with me. He wound up committing the next day. So it was a Monday. I was at school. I'll never forget this. It was like sixth period, and my mom called me. She like, Russell just committed. And at the time, Kansas only had one scholarship left. Carolina only had one scholarship left. And Coach Williams had told me when he came to my house for a visit, he was like, it's a lot of different people. It was J.R. Smith, Sean Livingston, Dwight Howard. I'm probably missing like two other people. But he was like, basically, first come, first serve. So whoever makes the commitment first, that's who I'll take. So when my mom called me about Kansas, Coach Self was still trying to figure a way to get me and Russell. But I just didn't want to put myself in a position where I miss out on two possible schools that I can't go to. And now I just got to pick whatever is left. So, man, I'm not going to lie. Like, I really just prayed on it. I was just like, I'm going to just go to UNC. And my mom was like, you sure? Like, you ain't been out there? We don't have no family out there? Like, I'm like, it's cool. I'll just put it in God's hands. So when I went out there on my visit, I was like, it just felt right. I never thought everything would be perfect, but it just felt right. And the players just made me feel like family already. And then when I got there, it was, you can't really replace not only experience, but certain experience from certain people that you get it from. So for me, when I got there, not only did I have Hall of Fame coach and Coach Williams, I had Sean May, Raymond Felton, Jawad Williams, Jackie Manuel, Rashad McCants, all of these talented players. So I learned so much. Like I tell people, I had to learn how to be a basketball player once I got there. Terminology. Because a lot of the things that I was taught was from coaches who taught us everything they knew, but it was so much other stuff that I didn't know about the game. Like I tell people all the time, like even that Tech team, Coach Mack, one thing about Coach Mack, he was going to have us in shape. Like we was always going to outrun people. But based on that, other than that, we really just played off just raw talent.
All five good people. Right.
It was just raw talent. And when I got to Carolina, that's when the game had to start slowing down for me, and from the good, the bad, I experienced my first knee injury my sophomore year. People don't even know this. At Tech, my freshman year. My sophomore year. The end of my freshman year to the OAL championship of my sophomore year, I played with a torn meniscus in my right knee and didn't even know it. I went to Dr. Ting. I went to Kaiser first, and they told me I had growth pains. So I'm like, nah, all right, whatever. So Leon had tore his ACL, and he was, working with Dr. Ting. So him and B. Ward was able to get my dad and I in there, and Dr. Ting did an MRI, x-rays. He looked at it and looked at me like, son, how long has your knee been bothering you? I'm like, all year. He said, son, I don't even know how you're walking right now. Mind you, the next day we were scheduled to play Allende and them for the OAL championship my sophomore year. So I'm like, I can't play. And so he looking at me and my dad like, I mean, you've been playing all year. It's kind of just up to y'all. I'm like, man, I'm playing. So from that, then going to Carolina, I had knee injury. I had like 4 or 5 knee surgeries. Stress fracture in my foot. Torn ligament in my thumb. But this is all stuff that I didn't really put out there. Like if you knew, you knew. But if you didn't, you didn't. So I had to deal with that. I had a surgery as soon as my first week in summer school at Carolina. As soon as I get there, I'm sitting on the couch with Melvin Scott and Jawad Williams, and we had to go lift weights. So they're like, come on, man, we got to go lift. And I literally turned and my knee just locked up. I'm like, I can't move. So, they like, nah, nigga, you ain't getting out of this workout. Like, you got to work out. I'm like, nah, like, I can't move. They took me in the training room, had surgery. The next day, Coach Williams come to pick me and Marvin up for lunch. He see me come out on crutches. He like, son, you just got here. How you already getting hurt? But that was just something like I always say, those were just little things, big things, but little things that tested my character, tested my faith. And so when I got to Carolina, it was just a lot of experiences that I'm blessed to say that I went through, because now it's like beyond my sister or, whether it be Ivan or Paris, because they went to Montero. My sister grew up with Paris and Ivan. So when Ivan was able to take his trip, recruiting trip to Carolina, I was out there, and it's just helpful to be able to give the kids or anybody, parents, the game that I didn't have or I didn't understand back then. Like I said earlier, I didn't know certain questions to ask. I didn't know to ask, well, who y'all recruiting in my position after me next year, 2 years from now? What's the offense really about? What's the defense really about? Like, you see North Carolina, you see Kansas, you see UConn, you see Syracuse, whatever you see, you like, man, this is my opportunity to go. I just want to go. And so that's how I felt when it came to making that decision, to answer your question. Like, I wanted to be far away from home because I felt like that would help me grow up even more at the time. And I think it did.
Hey, Q, you such a Carolina guy. You just named all these big schools, but you didn't name Duke. Like, you such a Carolina guy.
That's a good one, Lo. That's a good one.
You didn't name Duke, right? Hey, what was that Duke North Carolina rivalry like for you, man? Because we watch it at home on TV. We watching the Obamas fly in just for the Duke and Carolina rivalry, right? What was that rivalry like, man? Them years you was there, personally.
It's special, man. It's y'all being from here, we don't have nobody rushing home to go see Cal and Stanford play. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's. Right. It's just, we just don't have that. It's no disrespect to them. We just don't have that. When I went out there and you start walking through malls and you walking through grocery stores and people walking up to you be like, I just need you to win one game. Y'all could lose every other game this year, but just beat Duke. Or you got Duke fans that's like, man, y'all suck and this and that. But it was just so, the energy was just fun for me, man. Like I tell everybody, I used to love playing in Cameron more than in the Dean Dome, because Cameron to me was a college white Mac.
Oh, got it.
It's a college McClain.
We can see that from TV.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Because when you see it on TV, honestly, it's 10 times smaller than what it even looks like on TV. So like when you on that court, the Cameron Crazies, they like really right behind you with the fingers. Like they could touch you if they want to, you know what I'm saying? But you in warm-ups, they cracking jokes. I forgot my freshman or sophomore year, we in warm-ups and I'm shooting and they just yelling out different stuff. They like, hey Q, you're from Oakland, right? Yeah, we like to go dumb too. We go hyphy and all of that too. Like, so it's like you could easily get sidetracked easy in a place like Duke, but I love it, man, because, and one thing about Duke, I always respect them because no matter what the roster looks like on either side that year, when that game takes place, it's always up in the air. Like, you're going to get the best out of both teams. And so I can honestly say, being in it, I feel like the fans make it more of what it is than the players. Like, I mean, we might have our little gripes, but for the most part, both sides respect each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's fun, though. I ain't gonna lie. It's fun. It was always fun.
Man, I had to think about that, man. Like, yo, that's the biggest rivalry in basketball, to be a kid from Oakland and a part of that. You got Michael Jordan at your game. You got Michael Jordan walking through the campus. Did Michael Jordan ever walk through the campus while you was there, come meet the team?
Yeah, Mike came to a practice my freshman year right before we went to the tournament. Then he came to the national championship. Him and Coach Smith were there in the locker room. And then I believe my junior year, they did something really dope. They had like a banquet for the 82 team. So they had Sam Perkins, Mike, Worthy, I think Kenny Smith had came back too, but they had everybody back. and we had a banquet, so we just got to like mingle with him. And yeah, Michael wild boy though, but he just always, the times he did come, it was just he was either joking with us, trying to gamble, shoot half court shots before practice and stuff. Like, so what we shooting for? We like, ain't nobody on this court got what you got, but I'll throw this 5 in if you want to bet something.
Hey, that's
But yeah,
super dope, bro. That's dope right there, man. Like
it was,
Michael Jordan betting y'all half court shots for your we used to call it Lou money, our Lou money in college, right? Our Lou
uh-huh,
check.
uh-huh.
Our Lou check, right? For our Lou check, Michael Jordan trying to bet us money for our Lou check. Hey,
Real
that's
talk.
classic right there. That's classic, man. Hey, but some of the dudes you played with at North Carolina that you named, Raymond Felton, Rashad McCants, Danny Green, like, did they walk around campus like, I know I'm to the league? Like, did you guys have that aura about yourselves on the hoop team? Like, we know we to the league walking around campus?
Um, I think it's just like any school you go to or any program you're a part of. I think it's just certain players where you just know, and they know. You know what I'm saying? I can honestly say on that team, nobody really. I mean, you'll have people with egos or whatever, but nobody really like carried themselves flamboyantly around the school or anything like that. You just kind of knew, like, you knew Raymond was going, you knew Rashad was going. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Marvin could have went straight out of high school, and I remember me and
What
Marvin were roommates. Marvin Williams, that wound
Marvin
up going
Williams?
number 2. Yeah, Marvin two. He wound up
He
going number 2,
went to the
05.
Kings. Did he go to the Kings? Who did he go to?
No, that was
He didn't go to the
that was
Kings.
Sean. Marvin went
Sean
to
May went to the Kings.
I want to say
I
Atlanta.
always forget who Marvin. Atlanta. There you go. Atlanta. He got drafted by Atlanta. But I remember before Marvin went, we were sitting, we won the championship, school was about to be over, and we were sitting in our dorm playing Xbox. And Marvin like, man, I don't think I want to go to the league. And I'm like, well shit, one of us gotta go, and I know I ain't going, so
Let's switch.
yeah, I'm like,
For real.
I've accepted that I'm gonna be here 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, no problem. I'm like, but that's an opportunity you can't pass up, bro. Like, you're changing your life. You changing a whole generation. You changing your parents' life, your brother's life. And we sat there and talked about it for like an hour. And he just said something that was just striking to me. He was like, man, I just want to be a kid as long as I can, bro. And when he said
Mm.
it, it kind of sunk in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't think of it like that, because now when he comes back to school, it's not like when we at school. You know what I'm saying? He coming during the summer. It's a lot more mellow. He had to take a whole bunch of online classes, which he did. And Marvin wound up getting his degree. You know what I'm saying? Even while he was in the NBA. Sean May did too. Um, but that was something that I always kept in mind when it came to Marvin saying that. I'm like, he just wanted to be a kid as long as he can. You know what I'm saying? He knew once he got to the league, all of that was pretty much done. But I think that was another thing to add to that Duke and Carolina rivalry that was special for me, to have a childhood friend like a brother in DeMarcus Nelson. So me and DeMarcus were both out there at the same time, so that's probably what made the rivalry while I was there a little bit more special, because it's like you playing against your brother, and these are the meccas or the top of the schools, you know what I'm saying, or the blue bloods.
That's a real
Man,
good
we
dude,
got
DeMarcus Nelson. His name keep coming up. And Sarah, because Tonio talked about him, Deshaun Freeman talked about him, and I met him like on a fluke, just at the bank. We were just both at the bank, and it was
Yeah.
like I think me and Lo had done like 2 or 3 episodes, and I was just talking to him about the podcast and stuff like that. Shit, now we like best of friends out here. So he a cool dude. He real open. He's not like stuck up or think he's better.
Nah.
Even with all the accolades that he's garnered. Real solid dude. We got to get him on the show. I know he like a Vallejo kid, but he claimed
Yeah,
Richmond.
but
He claims Richmond.
he can get on the show because D Free told that story about him. Q, you might have known because y'all grew up together. That D Free was getting ready to go to St. Mary's, and then his parents pulled the plug on it after running with St. Mary's that summer. Did you know that?
Nah, I knew. It was fun. It was ironic. I didn't know where DeMarcus was gonna go for high school, because DeMarcus was just an athlete. Like, I remember I would spend the night at DeMarcus' house in the summer, and no jokes, we would practice basketball in the morning. We'd leave there. He'd go practice football, leave there, and then go to a baseball practice. And that was just DeMarcus' life. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a dog in every sport. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a dog, and our families and me and him just grew a bond over that time. Still to this day, I probably talked to DeMarcus maybe a couple weeks ago. You know, he's doing well, family doing well. But yeah, Marky a solid dude, man. He about as solid as they come.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned what it was like with you being at North Carolina and DeMarcus being at Duke, but this infamous picture me and Ken was talking about earlier was a picture of you playing against Allende while you was at North Carolina and he was at not Allende, Tone
Tonio.
Kellogg, Tonio
Yeah,
Kellogg, while he was at you was at UConn and he was at no, I'm backwards. You at North Carolina and he at UConn and you guarding him and it's a big ass game and it's the best picture I've seen. And when me and Ken saw it, I'm like, hey Ken, this got to be a top 5 OEL pitcher because it's two Oakland kids playing in the Big East and the ACC guarding each other, right?
yeah.
What was it like when you see your peoples like that? When you see someone you came up with now I'm playing against you on this stage?
It was special, man, because I mean, I don't know what it is. Like I always have respect and love for a lot of the people that I play with and against. Me and Tonio always just had. I mean, we've always been brothers and been close. But me and Tony have always just had like a unique relationship and respect for one another. He had came to Carolina when I was out there earlier this year just to visit me, and I brought it up. I'm like, man, Tone, you know something, bro? I'm like, ever since we was little, I'm like, we would ball, we'd play against each other. I'm like, but we never even really talk shit to each other. We might talk shit in the midst of the game, but like to one another, we never really. And he like, what's crazy? I thought about that. He like, it's just we kind of say it at the same time. It's just the respect we have for each other. But that picture is one of my favorite pictures of all time because being from West Oakland, being from East Oakland, just being two Oakland kids, one playing at UConn, one playing at Carolina, and this is a game that we used to watch all the time growing up, even if you didn't want to go to those schools or never thought you would go to those schools. Saturday morning, Carolina and Duke on CBS. And ironically, even that game, like, my playing career at Carolina, I might play one game, might not, might play a lot, might not play at all. But that particular game, Tonio and I were both playing a lot. He was playing a lot at UConn anyway that year. But we played a lot of minutes. So for them to get that picture, that was special for both of us. I keep telling them to this day, like I'm gonna get somebody to either repaint it or just get it blown up so I can have it in my crib. But yeah, that's always special, man. That's one of my favorite pictures for sure.
Super dope, man. So now that we brought Tone into this list, I mean into the conversation, we got to jump into this infamous man, the top 25 list. Have you got a chance to take out the Rec Center top 25 list from 95 to
Nah,
2005?
nah, I didn't check it out. I heard about it from Tone's interview, but I ain't get to see it though.
So it's a dope list. It's an argumentative list. Me and Kenny heard all the stories. Your peers definitely said, "Hey, how the hell y'all leave Quentin off the list?" These your peers, right? You heard Quentin say it. I mean, you heard Tone say it, and the first person that said it was D. Freeman. D. Free was the first person that said it. Shout out to D. Free. And me and Ken was like, we couldn't have a whole tech starting 5 on the shit because we even got Keith on there because no one debated. Only reason they said Keith shouldn't be on there was due to his grades, not him playing, right? So we couldn't
Right, right.
have the whole tech team on the list. And it was like Q facilitated a great team. A great team. Um, but it was like, when you talked during this interview, you made it be known. You like to facilitate. That's a point guard. and you didn't have to do that much scoring because you let them do it, right? So quickly check out the top 25 list, man, real quick. Run through it, look through it, and tell us
I'm for sure.
who you feel
I'm for sure.
who you who you feel should be on the list, shouldn't be on the list. Did we miss somebody else outside of yourself that should have been on the list? Like we don't have Mondo on the list. Mondo not on the list, right, Ken?
Nope.
You making faces over there, Q. We have to talk about the faces you making.
y'all ain't got CG on the list.
No way.
We don't have CG on the list.
Top 25, 10
We would
year
have put
span.
we would have put CG Junior on the list, but he was it coming through the years. But we didn't have CG on the list.
I'm not and I was joking with Tone about it. I don't be mad when when it comes to a list, that's all opinionated. I don't be mad. And I can look at this list and I can see why people, it's a few names though, like
Who?
I don't
It's all
Hold on,
right.
before
It's all right.
you
no,
Quinn,
I can say
before you say to you, hold on, before you say that, Ken, I forgot to tell you this. I got a homeboy, have nothing to do with OAL. He's out of Sacramento. He's the fucking biggest North Carolina fan. He saw the list and he like, hey, dude, he get at me. Hey, dude, how the hell y'all ain't got Quentin on the list? Quentin went to North Carolina. He gave me the same rundown that Tone Kellogg did, right? And I'm like, bro, did you even see Q playing high school? No, man, he went to North Carolina. He goes in on me.
That's how I am against Michigan guys. If you went to Michigan, you automatically on any list I create.
But at the same time was what he said and what Kellogg said. Hey, dude, this motherfucker went to North Carolina, bro. Like, how you go to North Carolina and don't make a local list? And
I feel,
we thought about it. But let's hear your perspective on it, Q.
I don't think, like, looking at this list, I'm not it's maybe a few people.
Some guys a lot
Like,
older than you on that list as well. Some of them got
but
like almost 9.
but most of the people, like most of the people that's even older than me that I know, like I know, might be like 2, maybe 3 that I probably take off.
Who?
But for me, I always tell people, and I always be that dude that don't really, like, even when people ask me my top 5, I'm that dude that name 5 and won't name myself. You know what I'm saying? But I know, I always say like this: ask the people I played with and played against.
That's
Well,
what they do.
everybody says you should be on it. I haven't heard one person other than me and Lolo say that you shouldn't be on the list.
But watching y'all watching the interview y'all did with Tone and the points y'all were making, just from let's just say if it's an ESPN from a analytical standpoint, I understood what points y'all were making. But for me, I guess I would look at it to make my point on any list or whatever. I would be like, okay, but there's a lot of people that if you put on that team don't function the same way. Because you got to think, they had the same team before I got there.
But
but they ran into a really tough Oakland High team right before you got there, and that team was damn near unbeatable.
Hey, Ken, we not hearing that, Ken.
It's the truth. It happened. We won.
Y'all went 9-1, Ken. I give you 9-1.
And we didn't lose to Tech.
No, that's real, because that's one game I saw at Tech my 8th grade year, and they played Ohio, and Ohio beat them by like 30. Y'all. That's when y'all
Henderson.
had. But see, that's when it come to, like, y'all had Mossy. Like, people don't know Mossy from, like, I know hoopers, so like, yeah, for sure. But I always tell people, I'm like, and I just had this talk with Mondo. We've had a ton of time, and he's always said, he like, bro, that team doesn't function without you on it.
But see, that's the stuff we can't see. We can't see. We can't see leadership. We can't see heart. We can't see, you being the glue off the court. Maybe you the one that makes sure everybody go to class. Everybody do their work. everybody checks their ego at the door. That's the stuff, we can't really see.
You can't see. No, and that's why I said I respect it. I'm not the type because I know y'all probably done got emails and texts from a whole bunch of people like,
Oh,
man, I didn't know y'all.
Millions of them.
My
all
niggas
of them.
I'm like,
Hey,
list gonna be opinion. List gonna be
That's
opinionated,
all
but I
it
feel
is.
like,
That's all it is.
yeah, no, it's all love. I feel me personally. I just feel like I've always been that player. Whatever you need, that's what I'm gonna give you. Like when Leon left, they said I couldn't. Or when Mondo and Deuce left, they said I couldn't score. And Tech was so hood. Like I always be telling people like, what you average in high school? I can't tell you because then nobody takes stats for us like that. I probably now my senior year, I know for a fact I averaged a triple double, but that's just because people was really paying more attention because it's my senior year and I was about to go to UNC. But other than that, it was just like whatever needed to be done. If 10 6 gonna help us win tonight, bet I'm gonna do that. If I gotta drop 30, then I'll do that. But yeah, but I'm not mad at this list though. Like,
well, who are the
maybe
two or three names that you think are kind of questionable? Because I think me and Lo agree that like Austin Nichols is debatable.
I would say my opinion. And the first one, both of them I'm good friends with, so I don't think if they see this they'll get mad or anything. But definitely my little bruh. Larry Guest and Devon might be the only two where I'd be like, wow. I don't know. But I'm only saying that compared to everybody else on this list.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Not to say they weren't.
No, yeah, we get it.
They
That's what
play.
we were saying about you. It's like we're not saying Quentin wasn't good or really good. It was just like top 25 in a 25-year span. And then the bullet points that we made, it was like,
Even so, Larry Guest, like I hope Tone Kellogg hear that part where you like Larry Guest because Larry Guest is a state champion. He's a state champion. There's not too many state champions on that list.
But Alex Harris is a state champion.
See, somebody else brought up that name this week, and I never heard of dude.
Yeah, Alex Harris. I mean, I've known Al since we was kids, played Rebels together, but Al went to St. Joe's. You got people like Eric Flato that played at Piedmont. But again, these are people that y'all didn't always get to see. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. But for example, I was too young to see Frank Knight play. I still know who Frank Knight is and what Frank Knight did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He was all state. You can't debate that.
I know who D-Tuck is. I didn't play with D-Tuck, but I played with D-Tuck in the Pro-Am one year. Yeah. I know who D-Tuck is. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised that y'all have Joe C. and not Charles Brown.
I played against Joe C. I didn't play against Charles Brown, so there's that. Like you said, who you saw, who you played with. Joe C. was just freaking unbelievable. He never missed.
He was.
I never saw him miss a shot.
He was JJ before I got to Duke and saw JJ in real life.
Perfect comparison.
He was JJ. He was so smart. He was so savvy. But nah, honestly, all bullshit aside, like I ain't mad at this list because the people that I see on this list, like I respect it. Like Eddie House.
Of the things, Q, Eddie House. One of the things, Q, is your humbleness, right? And it could be your humbleness that a lot of people do not see, right? So when you say you name 5, you never put yourself on a list. That's the humble, right? That's the humble, Like the game you talked about, first time I seen you play in it was the game at Cal State Hayward against St. Mary's at Cal State Hayward. Yeah. I flew back in town for that game. I'm at Arizona State. I flew back in town to watch the game. It went crazy that night. That's the next day. Rest in peace to Critty Bow. Critty Bow get killed the next day after that game, right?
Yeah,
but in that game, it was the next day. In the game I'm watching, you guys play like you guys. I knew Deuce, I knew Mondo, I knew Leon, and then I heard of you, because of the team, and it was like St. Mary kind of didn't match up to y'all. I didn't think talent wise. But I think Deshaun and Sharper did their best to try to keep them in the game late into the fourth quarter. And I'm like, yo, who is this kid? Talking about Freeman. And I'm like, but Mondo kind of took over in that fourth quarter sec. Mondo went on one, and I'm like, hey, these two dudes is going at it, And you were younger on that team, but that's when I first saw you play. And then, Leon got all the hype. Leon got the hype. So it's kind of like you facilitating, but you had this great nucleus of players around you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just and I ain't gonna lie, like me and my partners talk about it, family talk about it. Even with my partners will tell you, Tone and them, they'd be like, man, that nigga too humble. Or they just be like, that's just cute. You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's just like, because I think sometimes that gives people, even when I was growing up, people would be like, man, I heard you play ball. You good? I wasn't the one that's just gonna be like, yeah, I'm nice. I just be like, yeah, I'm cool. Cause for me, it's like I want you to see it. I could talk all of this all day, but it's like I want you to see it. But I think sometimes that's like a gift and a curse, because for some people, they feel like if I don't say a lot, then I must not be confident in myself, or maybe he wasn't like that, or maybe he wasn't. Go to any of the players that I played, not just with, but against, I feel like they're gonna be like, nah, he cut from that cloth. You know what I'm saying? But
they all did. They all did. They all did, man. And like me and Tone Kellogg didn't just say it. Tone Kellogg hit us with facts and stats and
he made a strong case. He was like, nah. He said you over Mondo. Because I would like to know if there's only one spot left, would it be you or Mondo? Because that's a good argument.
I think, and I can answer that honestly. Like,
but you're gonna say Mondo because you're humble.
No, I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna say whatever. I was gonna say whatever. It just depends on what the team needs.
What you need.
Because Mondo gonna get a bucket for you. Mondo was a better shooter than me. But even when it came to shooting, like I tell people, I didn't fall in love with shooting, like actually falling in love with shooting in the gym until my sophomore year in college. And I got hurt, and it was in the summer. I couldn't move, and my ligament in my left thumb was messed up. So the whole summer I was just shooting. When I was young, I knew I had that ball on a string, and I was Jay Kidd or John Stockton or Jason Williams, however you want to look at it, when it came to passing. And I was a good defender. And then when I started my sophomore year, when I kind of started jumping out the gym a little bit, it was like, well, you can't stay in front of me. And then I don't think you're going to jump when I come to the rim. So it's just like I kind of just played the angles. I knew what I could do. I knew when I could get this shot. I knew when I could get this pass off. But Mondo's different. I tell people, man, like, I don't think Mondo gets enough credit for what he was as a basketball player. Like, Doe, and not just saying it because we were teammates, like, Doe was special. Doe was definitely special. Like, I played with Leon. Of course. Leon was Leon. Deuce was Deuce. DeMarche was DeMarche. Mondo was special, man.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I listened to another podcast. They play this game called Start, Bench, Cut. You got to start one player, bench one player, cut one player.
Okay.
Mondo, Allende, Tone Kellogg.
Damn.
Oh.
You about to start a fight today. I know somebody going to.
Because that was a hell of an era, man. Because I remember that picture with you, Allende, and Mondo.
Can I go first, Ken? Let me answer that question first, Ken.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, look.
I'm starting Mondo.
I can't do it. I'm starting
Mondo. I'm benching Kellogg. I gotta cut Allende. I'm cutting Allende. That's my guy. Shout out Allende. I'm cutting Allende. Hey, you know why? Because I like the scoring guards. I'm biased to the scoring guards.
Allende put up 40.
I'm gonna be honest.
Dude.
All right, who you got?
I'm starting.
Hold on, no. Starting Allende.
I'm starting Inde. See, this is the thing about this. It's a great question because I don't know. I know Inde could play with both of them two. I don't know if them other two. I don't know if Mondo and Tone could play together. All right, I'm gonna start Inde. I'm Tone gonna come off the bench for me,
You
and I'll
cutting
cut just
Mondo.
yeah. But I'm not cutting Mondo because he's not good enough. I'm cutting Mondo because I'm like, I want you to go to another team where you could thrive. You could do your thing. And I
That's
feel
a
like
nice way. That's just a nice way of cutting somebody. That's like
it is.
that's
Hey,
It
that's
is.
hey,
like
Mondo does watch the show. He's commented on a
hey,
couple of the
yeah, no,
YouTubes.
shout
He
out
Oh,
do
you know
watch the
Mondo.
what?
show.
Shout out Mondo.
I just talked to
That
I
that
just talked to him yesterday. So I don't. Yeah. Man, that's
Ken,
a
let's
good
hear
ass
your
one. But
biased answer, Ken. Let's hear your biased
I'm
answer,
hella
Ken.
biased.
Let's
I'm
hear
hella biased. Okay, so obviously I'm starting Allende. We won the chip together. I got to do that. All my family went to Mac, so I'm kind of like Mac at heart. So I got to go Tone Kellogg. And then I've never met Mondo in my life, so other than playing against him, I never met him personally. So there's no attachment there. So I have to cut Mondo.
what I can
Man,
say about that, I don't think there's no wrong. There's
Yeah,
no
there's
wrong
not.
answer.
There's not. It's all opinion.
oh no. Y'all found all the wrong in my pick. You got up and ran out the room and came back in. Y'all found all the
Hey,
wrong on my
hey,
pick.
I ain't gonna lie, because when you said it so quickly, I'm like, at least
No,
take
no,
your
no, no.
time.
Nah,
Hesitate a little
no.
bit.
I thought about it when Ken asked you. I'm like, let me see how would I do this, and
Like
that's how I would
hesitate a
do it.
little.
Now, maybe I was starting Mondo. Maybe I was biased like Ken and starting Mondo. He a tech guy. I saw him in intramurals myself, and he always had the AI swag at point guard to me. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
always had that in
the
him.
long
Even when
shorts
he
and
was the
everything.
even when he was the freshman on the varsity, he had the AI swag. Like you wouldn't be able to tell that he was that freshman. So and I fell in love with that with Mondo. So shout out to Mondo. We got to bring Mondo on, but I don't want them to say we Oakland Tech heavy into the show. Q, I got to ask you two more questions before we let you get out of here. We at the 1:30 mark. Hey, Q, not Allende, Tone Kellogg was really, really, really into this team he picked. So Tone Kellogg picked his starting five of y'all era. I picked my starting five. Do y'all beat us?
We beat y'all ass then, and we beat y'all. We definitely beat y'all now because out of them 10, us five still hooping.
So
But,
you had
but I seen the five. I seen the five.
okay. You
When I
saw the
saw the
five. You
five,
saw the five.
I commented on the comments. I was like, I like it because I've never seen that.
Okay.
Like I've never seen those five together. Um, and me personally, anytime you put CG and Keith on the same team, that's a problem. But I don't see anybody stopping. Nobody could stop Leon. I don't know who y'all was gonna put
Yeah.
on Leon.
I mean,
Then
I get Shay in foul trouble. We could take Shay just get us in a little bit of foul
so that's
trouble.
my
So.
question. So you was gonna put Shay on
But I
Leon. You was gonna put
but I think
you
it
was gonna put Chris Green on T-Time?
No, see, I think it was kind of like the matchup. Like I didn't think nobody on that team could guard Keith Wheelwright either. Outside
I
and
agree.
it's like it
I
was
was
kind of one of them things. Like he go shoot over you, Tone Kellogg, and he go shoot over y'all. So it was kind of a battle of what it's going to look like in the end in the fourth quarter when we trying to play big ball against whatever it is y'all bring. So it would have been a good matchup. Me and Ken talked about it. It was like, yeah, but Leon is the difference
Leon was the
maker.
difference maker.
It was like
and I
Leon the
just think
difference maker.
it's scary because if you put me, Allende, and in Tone on the same team, it really don't matter who bring the ball up. And I don't see nobody being able to guard any three of us. And then when you throw T-Time in there, the way he's shooting jump, That's a tough 5, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'll have 5 for sure.
Well,
Hey,
if
but
you go ahead, Lo.
no, go ahead, Ken.
If you couldn't name none of your Tech teammates,
Hmm.
who would be your starting 5 from the OEL during the time you played? No Tech guys.
Okay.
Dude, you want them to lose? You know, all the people with that tech. You want them to lose?
I go Allende. People forget this person, Antonio Parker.
No, I've been vouching
No,
for Tonio.
Ken never forgets them.
Oh,
Oh
Ken,
no,
Ken
that was
never
my
forgets
teammate too.
okay.
Tony.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
Okay.
don't forget. I don't
yeah.
forget Tone
Ken don't
Parker.
forget
No,
them.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I go Tone, Allende, Antonio Parker, uh, T-Time. That's 4, right?
That's 3.
Yeah. That's 4.
That's 4.
Allende, Tone
Allende,
Parker.
Allende, Tone Parker,
Parker,
Tone Kellogg,
Oh,
Tone
okay.
Kellogg,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
T-Time.
And T time.
T-Time, and one more. OAL. I'd probably go with I Count.
See, this is how you figure out who was good. You gotta ask the guys.
I go with I
So
Count.
That's
with
a hell
that
of a
being
team.
said, Ken, with that being said, that is a hell of a team. But out of Tone Kellogg 5 in my 5, that's 10 players, right? 6 of them 5 was at Oakland Tech at one point in time
Oh yeah.
in that career.
I mean,
6 of
Tech
them.
had that era though. Like you can't Tech. I mean, they won four straight chips.
I feel
Yeah.
like, but to ask y'all a
No, go
question,
ahead.
do y'all feel like OAL shifts every 10 years? Because when I got there, that's what people was telling us. They was like,
That's a
y'all,
good point.
because they like, I feel like Mac always had a team. Fremont always had a team, but like they ran the 90s. Then it was like, y'all was nice at Ohio. Y'all won. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like every 6 to 10 years now is kind of harder, but like the history shows like every 6 to 10 years, especially every 10, it's like another group comes. And you
But I
sometimes you
think
don't know what school it's gonna be.
But I think it only
I,
in basketball. I think it only shifts between 3 schools in terms of really locking it down. Oakland High, we had 1 year, right? But Mac has like consistently held it down for periods. Fremont has consistently had a stronghold for periods, and then Tech had their run, and then you might have like a 1 or 2 year gap in between there. But between those 3 schools, I do think it rotates.
but one
Okay.
of the big shifts be when AAU coaches get high school jobs.
That was my next point.
That
Yep.
that makes a big shift when an AAU coach get a high school job because now he know what players to go talk to. He know what parents don't mind doing the academy route like Ken did or changing the address up over here. He know the parents to go and talk to, right? So I
That's
think
real.
that shift start when, or it could even be a dad following his son up.
Yep.
And once his son get to high school from the AAU circuit, now he got his son and all their partners coming to the school with him, So it'd be a lot of different parameters that start this whole shift in the OEL basketball. Like right now, Tech, I think Tech been winning like the last 2-3 years. But none of them is getting like Tech lost in the NorCal championship to a team in the Division II to a team out of Stockton this year. But Tech
Yeah.
they not on that D1 level as if the Tech of 04 and 03 and 02 was. They not on that level yet. None of the OEL schools is like that right now that can go win the state championship. It's just
That's because
not. It's just not like
everybody's going to the private schools.
yeah.
Like I said, when I was growing up, I'm pretty sure when y'all was growing up, majority of the people either played whatever school was in their district, or you had so many Oakland kids that wanted to play in the OAL. And now it's like, not only do you not have to play in the OAL, but I can't tell a kid to turn down a St. Ignatius or a St. Legions when not only it's helping them basketball wise or sports wise, but academically it might help. With they commute, it might help. You know what I'm saying? Like we just don't know every kid's situation. But
Absolutely.
I guess I'm proud to say that I played in the OAL. Like even I had these conversations you know, with y'all that came before me and before us, it's like I get to have it's a brotherhood. It's like a fraternity forever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Absolutely.
kind of similar to Carolina. You know, people always ask me like, man, do you keep in contact with your teammates and stuff like that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it might not be that you talk to everybody all the time or you see everybody all the time, but like I just talked to Danny Green. You know, I just talked to DG. I talked to Marvin. Um, I talked to Wayne Ellington and just all of these people. You know, Tyler Hansbrough. Like it's a fraternity. So with this OAL thing, or not even just OAL, just people that played ball in the Bay Area, it's like a brotherhood that kind of starts from it and stems from it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure we all have relationships that are beyond basketball, but they stem from basketball or from a specific sport. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just be honored to be a part of it, man.
Yeah, I agree. Because I actually left private school to go play at Oakland High because the same thing. I was like, I would watch Sports Focus. And at the time, that was Ray Holt, Marshawn Ferris, Will Levy, Fremont had their teams. I'm like, bro, I got to have that.
Yeah.
Right. Hey,
Hey,
Q, before we go ahead,
can I
Q.
tell y'all, because he brought up Sports Focus, and I don't want to, it's not long. Sports Focus, we went there one time. They told us they had to stop showing our highlights on the show
Why?
Wow.
because parents was calling in from other schools saying y'all showing tech too much. Now, honest to God, truth.
Oh,
You can ask
wow.
you can
The
ask
hate be
Mondo,
real, man. The
you can
hate
ask
be
Mondo, you can
real.
ask Deuce, you can ask Leon, you can ask DeMarche whenever y'all talk to him again. I promise y'all. And we was like, what? Like, parents were calling Sports Focus. They were calling Sports Focus and high school sports Cal High. They were calling Cal High, but they started with Sports Focus. They're like, man, you guys are showing tech too much. And that's when that's when we knew it was like, oh, okay, like we really we doing all
Right.
right because people don't like us. Like we doing all right.
They
But yeah,
would
that's all I
never.
wanted to say.
They would never do that to St. Francis or Midi.
Oh,
Never
never.
They would never.
De
De
La.
La Salle. They would never do that, man.
What's the other
Never.
school? Los Gatos. Los Gatos
Gatos,
stayed
yeah.
on. Los Gatos stayed on Sports
De La,
Focus.
De La probably would
Hey,
have had
Q,
their own show.
Right.
right. Q, before we let you sign off out of here, man, one of the things we want to applaud you on is you rapping now, right?
Yeah.
Was rapping something you started doing while you coming up to Oakland while at North Carolina, or was it something you decided to get on after your career playing at North Carolina?
Rapping was something I always did, man. I always used to freestyle on AU trips, high school, on a bus, in the hallways. We used to have little baby functions at Tech. You could ask anybody. Freestyle Friday, stuff like that. But it was just fun to me. It was just a hobby. But I feel like God works in mysterious ways. When I went to Carolina, and although I still had a passion when I graduated and I wanted to play ball, one thing led to another, and I wound up meeting Grammy Award winning producer Ninth Wonder. And when I met Ninth, I played him some stuff that I had like recorded over industry beats and stuff like that. And he liked it. He loved it actually. And that was in 2008 when I first met Ninth. I had just graduated. I went to a Laker camp that I got invited to thanks to Coach Williams and Mitch Kupchak, and didn't make the team. Knee was still bothering me. And when I came back to North Carolina and Ninth heard it, sat down with him, he was like, man, what you want to do? And that's become my second love, my second passion. It's like basketball all over. It's like the only difference between music and basketball, you still have politics, you still have the pros and the cons, but it's no clock, it's no coach, and it's no team, and it's no ref, it's just you. But I love it, man. Like I've always rapped. I just didn't know I'd be a part of it. I have a project coming out, A Midsummer's Nightmare, September 18th. We just released a song today and a video. It's out right now called Big Luther for Ninth Flip Luther Vandross sample. So that's out today. So if y'all want to check it out, it's available on all music platforms. I go by GQ, a part of Jamla Records. One Day Soon is the brand I started. You guys can follow that, www.onedaysoon.ods.com or jamlarecords.com. And if you want to keep up with me on social media, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at the town GQ, THETOWN GQ. So that's just what I've been doing, man. So even in the midst of this, still training, do personal training, basketball training when I can. And in the music, like I said, that's the first thing right now.
Man, definitely, man. Ken, we got to make sure we check that out, and if we can really release the visuals or something, got some little visuals, we can put that on the Rec Center podcast Instagram page and let the viewers hear that. One of the other things I want to shout out, man, you guys got some dope shirts on right now. Q, what's that Suffer Season shirt about?
So this is Suffer Season shirt, something that I started saying, ironically, before this crazy year we've been having. This is part of the One Day Soon. And One Day Soon, or acronym for ODS, is just something I used to tell myself every day. Like, one day soon I'm going to have this job, or one day soon I'm going to have this house or this car. And it started as just motivation for me. And then I turned it into a brand. And Suffer Season was something that I've always been the person to like create my own chip on my shoulder just to give me that extra edge, whether it's music, whether it's on the court. It's almost like, when Mike told that story about when he said the dude dropped, I forgot the player's name, but he dropped some points and Mike tried to make it seem like dude was talking trash to him after the game, but he really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I do from time to time. But the Suffer Season really just stands for, like, no matter what, everybody got to feel it. Family, friends, haters, supporters. Like, you do it so well and you do it so proudly and it's so effective that it just resonates and people they have no choice but to see it. So I seen, shout out Tone, Bottom Boy, he had the shirt on last one and I just actually threw it on. I'm like, well, let me just keep it going. But these will be available on the website too. We got some other another color too, so people can get these too.
Make sure me and Ken get the link to that so we can get us a couple of Suffer Season shirts, man. I like the name of it. I like the name. It kept my eye the whole episode. Shout out to my sisters over at She Got Her Own Clothing for His Grace My Grind shirt. And definitely shout out to our big brother Marshawn Ferris with the Town Royalty shirt that Ken is rocking, man. So we definitely want to support all our young people, all of our people that's out there doing stuff with their merch, and we want to, put it on. Once we get our viewers all the way up, it's more exposure. The more exposure, the better. So, man, so Q, thanks for coming on the Rec Center podcast, man. Appreciate it, man. Keep us posted on everything you got going.
Man, I thank y'all for having me, man. It's always good to have talks like these and just, sharing y'all platform with me. I had hella fun. So anytime y'all want me back on here, just let me know. I'll tap in always.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed having you. If you could hook us up with Lee Poe, that would be great. We'd love to get him on.
Okay. Yeah, I got Leon's number, so I'll try to reach out. Yeah, I'll hit Doe for sure. I'll hit Mondo. I know I could talk to Mondo like today. I'll try to get Leon's contact for you. I'll try to get both of them, so hopefully they can tell their side though.
Hey Ken, we do the Mondo episode. We gotta do Mondo and Deuce together, bro, because they came into Tech together. They was like brothers. We gotta do that episode together, bro. You know what I'm saying? So let's put that. That's gonna be hilarious. That's what we put in the work. We gonna put that in the work with Deuce and Mondo together, man.
I'd love to have Deuce on, man. Because me and Deuce talk quite often, and I got a lot of funny Deuce stories.
Definitely.
Everybody got a lot of Deuce stories.
Deuce,
I
like
really
my,
out.
Yeah.
I really do.
Deuce introduced me to the Tech era.
You let him introduce you to it?
Well, see, it was reversed though. So it was like the year right before UK. So you was in the 8th grade, and I was a senior, and so we about to play at Tech.
Yeah.
And I'm at school, and everybody at school is like, "Oh, they got Deuce back. They got Deuce back. He about to go to work on you, Ken." Da 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 da. So in my mind, I'm thinking like a Keith. I'm thinking like a DeMarshe 6'9". I'm thinking like Michael Jordan about to walk on the court. So when we get to the tip, he stand right next to me. Like he guard. I said, hey, because I recognize all the other players. So I'm like, your name Deuce? He was like, yeah. I said, bro, I've been hearing about you all day. I'm finna serve your ass. And so the first time he got the ball, I was real cerebral. I wasn't very athletic. I was real cerebral. I kind of know what you're going to do before you even do it. So he gets the
Right.
ball the first time in the game. I take a charge. I knew what he was about to do. I take the charge. I said, "Ooh, it's gonna be a long night. I already know every move you got." So then I come, and you was there. This is the game you talking about. You was there in
Yeah.
eighth grade. Yeah. So I commenced to give his ass 19 good ones, and then ever after that, I will never play him again. Cause he's like far surpassed me in bad. Like dudes would fucking dunk on me and give me like 50 right now, right? So I would never play a pickup, or I'll never play him again. And every time we talk, I bring up that story.
No, that's dope. Y'all definitely got to get him and Mondo on there. That'll be funny.
I love dudes. I never met Mondo, man. What is he? Cool? I never met him before. Just
Oh,
playing
Mondo,
against
my
him.
guy. No, Mondo, my
Mondo,
guy. I was a little older than him, but Mondo cool as shit, man. But me and Mondo, like, I was he was young and shit and coming in, and I had to try to rough Mondo. So my good thing in basketball was this. Mondo got all these crossovers. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to foul him one hard time to turn him to a jump shooter. Because he's going to be like, hey, this football player want to play the football. I'm shooting all jumpers, right? So I'll foul him hard one time. And Mondo talking shit. The next time I'm trying to D up hella aggressive and he crossed me. And it's like, hey, these young dudes, man, they've been playing since they was 7 and 8. Lo. You got to give them the pass, man. Welcome them to the tech and do it moving.
Mondo different, man. But nah, I
Yeah,
had hella fun today, man. Just chopping it up with y'all for sure.
It's all good, brother. We appreciate
appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
That was fun.
Hey, that was a good one, man. Hey, that's my first time. That's my first time talking to Q like this, man.
Mine too. I thought he was gonna be mad about the list. Like I was kind of avoiding the conversation, but I knew it was like at some point we was gonna have to meet it head on.
There's an elephant in the room, and Q is he's humble. He's the humble guy,
Yeah, I was
So,
surprised.
shout out to Q, man, because if we had that list and we did the interview with Marshawn and Marshawn went on the list, we hearing about it. We hearing about it, right?
That was fun, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
man. I like Q.
Shout out
I
to
feel like Q is somebody I would love to point guard my team.
Oh, definitely the facilitator.
Yeah, just give me the ball.
Definitely. Give him the ball. Let him set it up. But shout out to the bench one, start one, cut one, man, because that could have went any way with any of them guys. And that's like our list. There's no wrong answer with this.
Correct.
It's just eye test preference that you like in a point guard, So shout out to that, man.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap, man. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Man, I had so much fun with this one. Make sure you guys follow us on the Instagram, the Rec Center Podcast. Subscribe, very important. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Rec Center. I'm Kenny Edwards for Lorenzo Parham. We out of here.